Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar, Celebrate Learning, Creating Themed Widgets with BookWidgets. My name is Kate Baker. I'm your host for today's webinar. I'm the head of community engagement here at BookWidgets and run the ambassador community. But I'm also a longtime veteran educator, 25 years in education. I've taught high school English, and I also work with pre-service teachers who are college students becoming teachers. Feel free to stay in touch with me beyond the webinar. You can find my email address there, as well as connect on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Blue Sky. So for those of you who are new, what is BookWidgets? BookWidgets is a content creation and student learning evaluation platform for teachers. We help you support your students' learning process from beginning to end with a variety of widget or lesson templates and question types. We got 36 different question types. 30 of them are auto-scored so that you can build a variety of professional and interactive lessons that will support your students. We are integrated with your major learning management systems, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, you name it. We are integrated with it. We also are SSO integration partners with ClassLink and Clever. And through this learning management system integration, you are able to monitor student progress in real time so that you can provide feedback and help your students immediately and help them to move forward wherever they are at any time. And then our reporting dashboard provides some insightful learning statistics so that you can review student work efficiently and spend less time on grading and more time on personalized student feedback. So let's take a look at what we're going to do today. We're going to be working thematically with BookWidgets. So we're going to take our learning material and we're going to apply a theme to it and discuss how to do this, as well as, the benefits of using a thematic approach. So for today's agenda, we're going to kick off with some inspiration. I have lots of examples of thematic widgets. We'll also take a look at what is the purpose of a thematic lesson and provide you with plenty of tips and tricks for designing those lessons using BookWidgets. We'll talk about what specific widget types to use, share some tips about AI, and how you can also use some different design techniques to create your thematic widgets. So let's start off with some examples. So I have a bunch of these grouped together that we've curated. So we're going to start with some language arts and social studies examples. So this first one, bedtime stories, my colleague Lucy created this one. This one is a web quest. You can see that we have the tabs down here at the bottom. It's on the theme of bedtime stories, so very narrative. This is also meant to be a collaborative with family members so that the students are doing these activities at home and reading the stories with their family in addition to doing the different activities. So we have this organized by days of the week. So if we go to Monday, they can listen to the story. And as I scroll down, we have some different chapters here. These images, by the way, are created with AI. And then we have a LinkedIn assignment. So when we click on this split worksheet widget, it'll take us to a split worksheet that's got some definitions in our instructions. And then the students can read the story on the left side of the screen, or, the parents can also read it too. And then on the right, we have a number of questions. Now, if you notice visually, we have some themes going on here with the bedtime stories. We've got, some various stories, but also We have, a consistent color palette. We have consistent font that we're using. And then you can see repetition of some of these images. They all have the same style. So, there's a visual theme in addition to this overall theme of a bedtime story. And then as they navigate to each day, we continue this process. We have, the story with a big graphic, takes us again to that lexicon table with the vocabulary that helps them to understand what they're going to be reading about. Again, the story is on one side, and then the questions are on the other. And again, a very consistent visual design. Okay. Let's go take a look at another example. By the way, you'll see when you'll get these slides, you will be able to click on all of these links. So you can go navigate to the widget itself, but also navigate to the group to see all the widgets that are contained within the example. So a webquest widget is kind of what we call a container widget. You are curating multiple widgets together and putting them into one big widget like the webquest. So I'll just quickly show you the group. So when you navigate to the group, here we are in the BookWidgets blog group, the webquest group, and folders, and the bedtime stories. So here we have that webquest, and then we have all the different activities that are embedded in that webquest or linked in that webquest are here in this folder. So this way, if you need to differentiate instruction, you want to duplicate and make some copies into your own files, you can do that. Again, working smarter, not harder. All right, let's go back. This next example is also a web quest. This one is on the theme of eco poetry. So this particular widget is one that I built, and it is a project-based experience where students are learning about eco poetry and then creating their own mixed media poems for climate action. So we got a green color scheme, again, thinking about theme here visually. And then as students navigate through each of the tabs, they can read the information, go practice and play with some of the poetic techniques, navigate through. This is, again, a very guided cross-curricular project where they're working with the theme of poetry, but also the theme of the environment. And then they have some steps for how to compose their own mixed media eco poems, some different activities that are kind of game-based, as well as some other ecological inspiration and different types of poems. Again, focus on the theme of the environment. And then it culminates in the opportunity to publish or share with others their eco poems, and then being a catalyst for change by putting their poems out into a more public space and being collaborative within their community. So again, same thing as with the bedtime stories. I have the widget, and then I also have the group that contains all of them. Here's another ELA example. This one is an escape room that is built also in the webquest widget. And this one is Escape the Poet's Study. So we have, this theme of, it's an escape room. We're looking at poetry. So we have, the students are locked in this study. We have this kind of storyline that's going with this, that they are investigating kind of this mystery. They need to search the room and be able to escape and do some different activities. So this one visually, We have, 3 hotspot images that are embedded in here, but we have a consistent theme visually with these, um, that it's different sections of the poet's study room. Um, and I'll talk more about how these images were created, but I used a tool called Adobe Express to kind of mock up and compose this so that it's pretty obvious when you look at this, like, these are things that I should click on. Yeah. And then, as they go and navigate to each room or section of the room, and they go and click on things, I built in a little bit of some funny things here of like, yeah, you actually have to try it. Don't just click on the door. And then, as they navigate around to go play and experience it. Now, with building out both of these web quests, the eco poetry one and this escape room, it did take me a little bit of time to invest in this. And a lot of the time is about, do you already have resources created? So if you're starting from scratch, it's going to take you a couple of days to build out, each of the individual activities, and then to then curate them all together in the web quest. It'll take a couple of days. But then what's great about this is once you build it once, you can reuse it over and over again. So again, I got the poet study, I have the web quest, and then I have the group that contains all of the widgets. So for this particular one, I'll just show you a little bit behind the scenes. I have my web quest, and then, I had to build out my 3 hotspot images, but then all of these other widget activities that you see in here, for the most part, I was able to pull from things I had already created. So when you're thinking thematically and you want to create this type of experience, whether it's an escape room or a game, you can repurpose stuff that you've already made previously, and that will help to also speed up time. And also to save you plenty of time, in that BookWidgets blog group, you all have access to this. So that if you find something that you want to use with your own students, if you're a member of it, you can just share it, share the link with the class, and you can see send answers to me. So even though, if you're navigating to this folder and you say, oh, I want to use this, when you go to grab the student link, the share link, or send it to your LMS, you have that box checked that it's sent answers to you. If you need to differentiate and you need to make some changes to it, that's when you would want to duplicate the widget, and you would want to duplicate it to your account so that you can then again make some updates and changes to it. For these more complicated widgets, and complicated just means that like I've added so much stuff in it. This particular one, I've designed it so that like I don't need to actually go check the answers because it's all auto graded. And that, the very last, if they're able to escape the escape room and make it to the last page, that I know that they've done all the steps prior to that. And I don't need to grade all of that. We did a great webinar a month or so ago, 2 months ago. If you go back to our webinars page, where we showed you exactly how to build out one of these escape room or escape the classroom type activities. So these first 3 examples, again, are ELA based, and they were made with the WebQuest widget and using some previously created activities. This next one is a planner widget. And this is a digital book report. So again, thinking thematically, it's ELA based. So we have a background image of books and a bookshelf. And then we have this digital choice board with the planner. So students, when they first navigate, they'll see this kind of empty state of this planner. They're going to click on the plus icon, and then they can go through and per the directions, select one activity from each of these color-coded activities that are listed here. And again, if you notice a theme visually going on, we have each of these activities that are listed here have an icon that goes with it, in addition to it being categorized and color coded. But again, we're keeping a consistent pattern with the visual design. And then as students add these things to their choice board, then they can navigate to each one, do the activity, go back and submit it if there is a submit button. Yep, so we got the submit button there. Go back to the list, check the box that they've completed that particular task. Okay. We also have a webinar on the planner. So I did this one also a couple weeks, months ago, where we go step by step for how to build out that planner widget so that you can see how to make that kind of personal learning path for your students. Okay, here comes another example. This is Women's History Month. So for Women's History Month, here's this widget. We have a hotspot image that's a calendar, and then students will click on each of the weekdays to reveal an activity to do for this particular month. So we're using a hotspot image. We have the information organized through the calendar, and then the theme that's running through is the National Women's History Month. So I've done some of these activities already. Let me clear my answers. So each of these activities are focused on how have women contributed to society over the years. Again, you can click on it and they can continue in doing the different different activities that are there. Okay. Let's go back to the slides. This next example is also one that I created. This is for September 11th, 2001. So this particular widget is a worksheet widget. So we're doing the theme here, remembering the heroism, leadership, and legacy of September 11th. So I have a consistent visual design, the kind of red, white, and blue that's tied to this particular day. And that it's an American, United States focused date of importance for us. So I have, again, the capital letters, using the stars. So again, some iconography that's appropriate and tied to the theme. And then students, complete the tasks as they scroll down, interacting with the different resources that I've curated for this. And then after they complete, they'll be able to submit. So, not only can you use a theme that's kind of, fun and whimsical, but you can also use a theme that's patriotic, respectful, focused on a specific event or time. Okay. So here's that make a copy of my account. So if you want to repurpose this, you can certainly do so. All right, let's take a look at now some math and science themed widgets. So here we have one for Earth Day, again, using the green colors to align with the environmental theme. We got some images here also that align with the environmental theme, and then a consistent design as students navigate through doing this Earth Day quiz. Here's another widget. This one's for the solar system. So students are going to do this particular web quest where they are, learning through this storyline of being astronauts and they have to do some training for a new mission. So, as they're navigating through, they're completing the collaborative tasks with their teammates, and they're learning about gases, atmosphere. They're learning about distance. So, again, things that are math and science content wise through this theme and experience of being an astronaut. Here's another one, kind of more whimsical. So, if you want to practice math skills, if you have your elementary students like dinosaurs, who doesn't love dinosaurs? We got a paint by number widget. So, this one, even when you look at this, is also you could do a little bit of throwback to your high school students. So, it doesn't have to just be paint by number for your elementary students when you have some complex math problems for them to solve. And then they, do the color coding um, on this whiteboard, selecting the colors and painting them according to the key that's there. So you could recreate this type of activity using Canva, using Adobe Express, any other image-based tools where you can take your image, have it be an outline, and then do, text boxes in the areas where you want them to color. So another one for Pi Day. This one, we got a whole blog post of multiple activities to celebrate Pi. So we have this theme of, for March 14th, this holiday in the math world, where you can read through any of these activities. You can click on them to open them and, play with them. You can also go to the Pi Day group and be able to, again, make copies, etc. Also thinking about themes in terms of current events and students practicing skills that are tied to topical information. So this particular widget is about Taylor Swift and her boyfriend Travis, the football player. So the big question last year was about, will Taylor make it to the Super Bowl where Travis was playing? And so had students, do this whiteboard question where they can use the tool to label the locations, draw a line for the flight path, and then do some calculations to determine if she could actually make it to the Super Bowl in time to see Travis Kelsey play. So again, they're practicing math skills, but it's tied to a topical, tied to a current event type of topic. And then another math example here under the theme for winter is this graphing activity where students are following directions for plotting their points. And then as they plot them on the graph, it will reveal an image to them. So this is a split whiteboard widget. So we have text on the one side here. And then on the other side, we have the whiteboard with a graph background where students can then use the whiteboard tools to do their plotting. And we even have, a little bit of a sticker there to add that in. And if they need some additional support with this particular activity, we also have the embedded calculator, which they can move around on the screen. They can do their inputs and calculations to get the graph. So kind of a fun, winter theme style math thing. All right, how about some holiday examples? So it is our winter holiday time, so you might like the Advent calendar for 2024. This particular widget is a hotspot image. So here we have the instructions they can click on. We get this pop out. that says what to do. And then as they navigate to each day, we get, whoops, completed it before I got to it. We can click on each of the numbers. It will take them to an activity to do. They can navigate back and, each day of the week for the lead up to Christmas, they can all do this one. Yep. Okay. And then, so that advent calendar widget is going to be in our BookWidgets blog group. So when you're in your BookWidgets account, you're on your Create tab where you're seeing your list of widgets. We have my widgets up there, but then you can see this list of groups to which I belong. And if you don't already see the BookWidgets blog group there, you're going to want to discover a new group. So you can create a new group by hitting the plus sign there if you want to collaborate with other teachers. But let's go to collaborate so I can show you where you can discover groups. So if BookWidgets blog isn't already there, just type in BookWidgets blog and you'll see bloop. There it is that it appears and you can join it. You can also discover groups by different keywords. You want to find some math or English. And then you'll notice we have these icons. So we have this globe icon means that this is a group that's public, that people can see this. Whereas we have these locked icons, this means that this is a private group that you would have to request to join, or a secret group to request to join. Okay, so again, go to create, be in the blog group. And then we have all of the widgets that have been included in our various blog posts and webinars. You'll see organized here in different folders. So you can just kind of scroll through and go find them by topic, or yeah, there's so much in here. You can also kind of search up at the top. You can filter. You type in math and you can see it's going to load, take a minute because math's a big one. Now we can see some different folders that have math in addition to individual activities that are math-based. All right, let me go back to this one because I got a new widget that I just made. 12 days of book widgets. So very similar to the 12 days of Christmas. This one is a big old present for all of you and your students. So this is the 12 days of book widgets, all organized in a web quest. Each day, you'll get to unwrap a new set of widget activities that are filled with challenges, creativity. There's some different surprises. And, I have it so that it's unlocked so that every day you can go to, you can just kind of pick and choose. But again, following this theme of the 12 days of Christmas, but a little bit of a parody, we have on the, 12 days of book widgets on the first day of the winter holiday season. My teacher gave to me one flashcard activity. And then I have the flashcard activity linked here. I've used a cover image for this so that it's a little bit of feels like you're opening up a present. So let me just grab this link and I'll drop this into the chat for you all. So you can do this with your students right now. I have so many different activities in here. So this first one's a holidays around the world. We go to the second day of the winter holiday season. My teacher gave to me to spot the difference images. And then we have, again, can click on them to open them up. The third day, we got some hotspot images. Day 4, webquests. I'm not going to sing the whole song to all of you during our webinar. A little bit of shout out, though, to some BookWidgets users who have created these webquests and hotspot images. Day 5, I got some randomness spinners. Day 6, some video quizzes. Day 7, pair matching. So let's go to one of these. I got them, this theme of like Christmas and winter holiday. I even have holiday songs so that you get a multimedia approach here. You have, pair matching of different songs, and the songs I all found on Pixabay. So, great site to go to for finding images as well as music and sound effects. So, pairs matching, memory games, whiteboards, crosswords, word searches, and jigsaw puzzles. And these activities are for a variety of ages in the future. Okay, so 12 days of book widgets. This particular webquest. I actually just built this out this week. All of these widgets, most of them are actually brand new that I made. And they are all, let's go to the group and take a look. They are all loaded here in the Book Widgets blog group, 12 days of book widgets. And then I have them listed out in each of the folders. So you can go see them. And then the web quest that contains them all is right here. So if you notice too, in the design of this particular web quest, what I did was to make it feel like you're unwrapping a present for each of those embedded widgets. So I'm showing you the editor view of the WebQuest widget at the moment. So I'm in the day 1 tab, and you can see I have this flashcard activity. And then this image is a cover image of that flashcard. So let's go to day 1, go back into that folder. So let me close this widget so you can see what happens. And the whole reason I did this, and I'll share this in the tips. Okay, so I'm going to go into the flashcards. Okay. When you're in your one widget, you go to design and you go to cover image, you can upload your own image. So I made this image in Adobe Express with the present, the book widgets icon, and a number, so that when it's embedded in another widget, you will see this particular image. And if you don't do that, what you will see instead is the icon for that type of widget. So if you don't have a cover image, the default is to see the icon of the widget, the type of widget that you are embedding. I know that's a lot. I'll show you also, this will cover this again in the tips and tricks in a bit. Okay. So I have some additional examples here for some other holidays, helping the Easter Bunny. We got plenty of other Easter activities for the springtime. And I know Halloween has passed, but we do also have some Halloween activities if you're looking for a more holiday themed approach. Okay. And again, you'll get all of these slides and they will be clickable so that you can go exploring. We got some other examples. You want to do a pizza party day. We have a widget for that. So it doesn't have to always just be something that's, a specific holiday. You want to have a pizza party day. And here on this hotspot image, we have some different embedded widgets and web pages for them to go and play. So, it's a digital pizza party, for students to experience. This was also another one that I just made, car themed. This could be kind of elementary or middle school. This is, a hotspot image. Steer your way to a new adventure. And if they go and click on each of the items here, it will take them to an activity that's themed on cars. and vehicles. So here's a counting to 6. They can drag and drop again, following the theme of vehicles. A word search with a background image that was created with the help of AI. We have a spot the difference widget. This was also created with the help of AI. No, not this one. This one I made with Adobe Express. So this on the one side is the original. I grabbed this from Adobe, and then they had it in their stock images. And then on this side, I used Adobe Express to recreate and edit this image so that I could highlight some of the differences. Swapping in, using the erase tool and then pasting in some other um, images so that it again is a spot the difference. But again, use the tools, play with it, see what happens. Again, here's another activity for them to play with. Okay. Exit out of this one. The sustainable development goals is another theme. We have a blog post, multiple blog posts on the SDGs, and then groups for with those different activities. There's also Valentine's Day, and then awareness days. Holy moly. This one I got to show you. My colleague Cheryl did 40 plus ready-made activities to celebrate just about any holiday we got out there. So this blog post takes you through all of them and lists them by month. So coming up in January, there's Kid Inventors Day, International Day of Education. So this is a great one when you're looking for some different activities for your students that are tied to a specific holiday or awareness day. This blog post is another good one to go to. And of course, I got the group folder that is there for you to access. Okay, so let's talk about though why we want to do a thematic lesson. Like, what's the whole point of this? What is the purpose of it? Well, you can have your students practice problem solving skills, that the theme and the storyline often come with a problem that the students are trying to solve. You can assess their reading comprehension through a thematic lesson. You can have them practice, review, or test on material that's thematically aligned, and it's an engagement tactic. That car activity is based on the car theme, but it's different skills that are aligned to that. You can also, again, themes and current events. It helps your students to be aware of what's going on in the world around them. So you can tie it to certain issues, to current events and other topics that you want to open up for discussion. And then just enrichment. A thematic lesson is a great way to challenge your gifted or fast learners with some additional enrichment activities. So some extra tips and tricks for designing these. Well, I'm going to show you the best widgets for a thematic lesson, some different tips with AI and design, even though I've been kind of talking about these all along. So when you're doing a thematic lesson and you want to curate multiple things together, the hotspot image is a great one to create a visual thematic lesson. And this can be, again, a visual blueprint or a step-by-step that's all centered around a single image. So I've showed you this example, again, of the cars. So again, that particular theme. This next example is a game board. Now, this one, it's just the theme of a game. It's a hotspot image. I found this particular kind of game pathway on Adobe Express, but you could also make these yourself. I added in the dice. So when they click on this, they'll throw their dice, spin the wheel, and say, okay, it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Click on the number 6. and it'll open up an activity for them to complete. So then they can come back after they've done that activity, spin the wheel again. Okay, move one, go to a 7, do another activity. So you could group activities together. Again, skills based, turn it into a little bit of a game experience for them. This next example actually is for educators. This is gamification with book widgets. This is actually a professional development session where you can learn how to do gamification with book widgets by, and it's a hotspot image, clicking on the different pieces of the hopscotch board, completing the task. And again, thinking about theme and visual design. I'm using a consistent color palette as they navigate through each of these activities to learn about game-based learning and gamification. So, not only are you creating activities for your students, you can also think of this from a professional development standpoint and curate activities for your colleagues. And again, I got the links to the webinar for that hotspot webinar and for the WebQuest webinar. And the WebQuest is a great place, again, to do that thematic approach. But this one's going to be a little bit more text-based instead of visual. So as I've showed you already the examples, this one's a clue game where students are playing the game Clue. And, just like the board game, and they're navigating through, completing the different activities, playing the particular game, and then to determine who is the what happened, who committed the crime. I've already showed you the poet's study. Okay, so again, this breakout experience, we have this game, and this one's got this web quest has hotspot images embedded in it, and then additional widgets embedded in each of those hotspots. And then I also have this other example, which you've seen already, the bedtime stories. Okay. So visual design, as well as a topical and skill-based theme. So Hotspot and WebQuest are great for both of these to be able to curate multiple widgets together. And all of these widgets are located in that BookWidgets blog group. Yep. Now, when you're using AI for creating a thematic lesson, I mentioned before about creating those cover images for widgets. So in a WebQuest or planner, where you're curating multiple other widget activities, add a cover image to those, and then the cover image will appear in the WebQuest planner or hotspot. Now, if you're not a visual artist and you don't feel comfortable with creating your own images, you can certainly use Copilot from Microsoft or, Chat GPT and ask it to create images for you. So, for example, for holidays around the world, let me just scroll down. I asked it to create an image. What would be an image representative of this particular holiday? And it would create these images for me. And then I can use these images as, again, cover images or embedded inside of a widget to support. And then if you also need to make some changes to them, if you take that image that AI creates for you, you can then pull it into other edit other image editing tools like Canva or Adobe Express or Photoshop and edit that image to suit your additional needs. In my spot the differences, I go into Winter Wonderland. I'm going to just show you what this one looks like. So this is the original image over here on the side. I asked Copilot to create me a Winter Wonderland scene. And then in the second image, I pulled this into Adobe Express. Then I layered in the things that would be different. Added in my Santa on his sleigh, my ice skaters. I removed building and added in some different ones. Removed a person, replaced it with a dog. So I was able to use those editing tools to create that spot the difference technique. Okay. Now, when it comes to like generating a storyline, for example, with the poet's escape the poet study, I asked ChatGPT to generate the storyline for me and to divide it into several parts. So again, I'm not always thinking of everything creatively off the top of my head. I have an idea, but then I will leverage the AI in helping me to create the specifics. And then you, again, integrate your specific learning material, repurposing widgets that you've made before into the story at various points. I've mentioned again about those cover images multiple times. You can also use the design export and import feature to apply a single widget, a specific design across all of your widgets. Okay, so what does that look like? Okay, let's see. I go back to blog. I'm gonna go into my web quest. I have to go to preview. Okay, so here I'm in preview. I can access the design features by clicking on design over here in the corner. I can customize my design. I can make it, my specific font if I wanted a light, dark background, what color I want. And then if I click on this gear icon, I can export this design. So let me just export it. Okay, you see design 1 is listed there. Now I'm going to exit out of this. There we go. Okay, now we're going to create a new widget. And I'm just going to make a quiz just for the sake of demonstration. Okay. Now I'm going to go into preview. So we can see this is the default design. I'm going to go to design. I'm going to go here to this drop down and I'm going to select import. Now I have my design. Open that up. And then notice now it changed it. Now I have that copper plate font. I have the light background and I have the color green. So this is a really easy way to be able to make that consistent design across all of your widgets when you want to group them together visually and thematically. Okay. So let me close that out and come back here. Okay. So if you're looking for some additional design tips, we have a couple of different blog posts that you would find useful. We have 10 BookWidgets design tips. So this one will give you some additional ideas about how to change that color font and to add a background image. So for example, in this one, we have for this crossword, we've added a background image that appears. Okay. You would do that in those design settings, background, adding a new image. Okay. Again, changing the font and the colors. You can really go crazy with the design stuff. Let me show you that. Let's go this way. Okay, let me go back to preview. And let me go to design. And then here for background, you can choose an image if you already have one that's you've created previously. You can import from Google Drive, but you can also find an image online. So image online, now you got to search for it. I like to do, I'll type in the word background if I'm looking for like a background pattern. And then I can pick a particular background. Oh, let's pick this one. So now that's added as a background to it. I can keep the original size, but what I want to do is just cover complete area. Okay. And then when I go create my questions, or I added my text, okay, just showing you kind of demonstration purposes when I go to preview. You can see now here's that text, and we have the questions, kind of appear. So you can add that background image through the design configuration and going to background and finding an image online, or again, uploading one. Okay. If you have the design features enabled, so if you're in a trial account, you're only going to see this top section here. But if you have the design features enabled and you are in a group or school account, uh, you can see that as I scroll down, you can change just about anything and everything within the widget to really customize the visual design if you want to make a thematic experience. Yeah, there's a lot here to get lost in. Um, Alice down the rabbit hole to go customizing the design of your widgets. But again, that creates that visual theme, which, makes your widget feel that, it's kind of, you can see some of the examples here too. Um, it kind of ties it all together when you do that approach. So there's that one blog post. We also have 10 free creative background images. Let's open this one up. So if you want to spice up your digital assignments, again, walks you through the steps of how to add that background image, and then shows some different examples that you could use to include. So there's so many options out there to really customize the look of your widgets. And then if you're looking for specific icons and some iconography, the Noun Project is a great tool, a great website to go to. It does require a little bit of a membership, but you can search for icons by keyword, and then it'll give you some different icons. So you can open it up, you can change the colors, you can really customize it. And then there is a cost associated with it. Also, your other tools like Adobe Express, there is a subscription cost for that as well. I know Canva is free for educators, but these other tools, do cost a bit of money. All right, so coming close to the end of our time today, just some other handy links and resources to share with you. If you ever have a question, you can always email us at support@bookwidgets.com. Our webinars page is where you can see some upcoming webinars, as well as access the recordings to some previous webinars. And we have our tutorials page will walk you through all of your different widget types and question types, our knowledge base for frequently asked questions. And then to keep the conversation going, certainly encourage you to join our BookWidgets Facebook community and check out that BookWidgets blog and group. So I'm dropping the link to our survey in the chat. And this is where you can get your certificate for today. I am so glad our roads have crossed. I'm going to pause the recording and we're going to do some Q&A now. So thank you again, everyone, for joining me today.